Hello, this is Dr. Mike Garrett, and I want to talk to you about an assessment, an intervention that we use in counseling that we have found to be extremely helpful. That comes from a book that we wrote, actually, and the book Love Needs, available on Amazon. How's that for a unbiased promotion? But I want to let you know that kind of the background of this book is that we surveyed over 3,000 couples, asking them what do they need. We used to use the old love language book, and people would say, "Oh, I have this one need. I have this one need," and and uh, and then they'd say, "Well, but I also need," and then they'd list some other things, and we began to keep a record of that and began to evaluate just what do husbands need from their wives and what do wives need from their husbands. I researched it. I looked at numerous other literature on the subject. Many books were written on it. His Needs, Her Needs by William Harley. He came up with 10 top needs. Of course, Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, and then many other books like that I have on my shelf, and then a lot of the studies behind those. But we just did our own study, and we collected this data over a several year period. And then we concluded we boiled our list down to 30 needs. Somebody said this is like 30 love languages on steroids. Well, this is just what we found out that people need. They say, I need affection and attention and appreciation, and that list goes on and on and on and on. Well, anyway, what we did is we turned this into an assessment, to a survey, and we use this with couples. It's we get a lot of mileage out of this. And so here's the assessment. It's a one-page assessment. It's a front and back, and we use this pretty early in counseling with couples, because pretty much every couple needs to think this through. A lot of times, the work we do with like conflict cycle and repair attempt, I'll tell couples that's more over on the negative side, trying to repair and correct some of the negative patterns in the relationship. But then you also want to balance the counseling and work on the positive side, and that is help couples know and identify and clarify what are positively what they should be doing, and what does the new behaviors look like, what does marriage 2.0 look like, what does better look like, if they're going to start rebuilding, what are some practical things they can do. And that's how we will set up this assessment. So we will give this to a couple to take home. We'll give them two copies, one husband and wife, and this is how we explain it. I want you to go home. I'll tell the couple, I want you to go home, and on your own, it'll only take about 15 minutes. I want you, and I'll tell them this all comes out of this book. The book actually has 30 chapters, one short chapter about each of these 30 items. And so each item is just one of the needs that couples have confirmed to us that is a recurring need in relationships. And so I want them, I'll say to the couple, I want you to score this on a scale of 1 to 7. So there's a Likert scale here, 1 to 7. And you ought to start out kind of going down the middle. Don't start everything on 7s or everything on 1s, with 7 being high. How important is item number 1? How important is item number 1? And specifically, we always tell them right now in the relationship. I'm not talking about when you first met or in the future. I mean, right now, to get you out of the ditch, growing and building in the right direction. How important is item number 1 on a scale of 1 to 7? So they might put a 4. How about item 2? And I'll say, I want you to just work through all 30 items. When you get through, out to the side, there's a place to put a check mark. Put a check mark by your top 10 scores. So if you had 10 number 7s, you'll put a check mark by each one of those items. So when you get through, let's say that you had 10 number 7s. Sometimes they'll have 9, sometimes they'll have 11 or 12. I say it doesn't matter, but around 10 of your top scores. And then I want you to take each one of those top items, and on the back of the sheet, if you'll turn the sheet over, on the back of the sheet, we want you to try to rank those top 10 in order. So just rank them in order. So the thing that's most important to me that would make me feel loved at this time is, and that would be item number one. But out beside that, we ask them, give us at least two, or give your spouse rather, at least two practical examples, two things they do or could do to accomplish that item one. So if they said, number one is I need more love and respect and appreciation, then the two items might be um, thank me for what I do, write me a note every now and then of appreciation. So that would be great. Now I know what number one, and I know how to do that. And then I want you to do the same thing for item 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10. And then bring this back when you come back in a week or two. And what we're going to do is we're going to review the back of the sheet. We're going to go over this, and we're going to go over it line item by line item. So they'll go home, they'll do their homework, they'll come back, they'll be all excited about this. They can talk about it if they want to, but when they come back, we're always going to spend the entire hour. And actually, an hour is not long enough. I usually need 2 sessions because I used to just say, well, what are your top 10? And they would just read them, take about 2 minutes. I need love and respect. I need appreciation. I need sexual intimacy. I need conversation. That's not what I'm going for. What I'm going for is, well, I'll have them sit down, and I set the session up like this. I want the husband and wife, and I'll ask them, would you turn toward each other on the couch? And so you can sort of look at each other, because I want you to talk to each other. Don't just talk to me. And I want you to tell each other what you need. And by the way, we always tell them this. Please tell them this. This is not a complaint sheet. This is not a demand list. This is not, here are 10 things that you are terrible at. This is a wish list. This is what marriage 2.0 could look like. This is what love looks like at this time for me. That's all this list is, okay? So you may already be doing really tremendously well on some of these items, but we're not trying to score you. This is not a scorecard. Tell them that. This is not a scorecard. This is just your wish list, okay? So then I have them looking at each other, and I will typically let the wife go first and say, what I would like for you to do is for the next 30 minutes, that's maybe if we can get it done, I want you to talk about items 1 through 5 and what you put out beside every item. And I want you to go really slow this down, and I want you to fully explain it to your spouse. And so Joe and Sally are on my couch. I'll say, Sally, you ready? Oh, one other thing that we love to do. We love to do this. I keep a stack of index cards right here on my desk, and these are the large 4x6 index cards. I'll tell the couple, I want to give you each one of these cards, because what I would like for you to do is I'd like for you to take notes on the card. You remember back in school, we would study for a test or an exam, and we would take notes, and this would be sort of our cheat sheet. If I can just remember all this, I'll pass the big exam. So I'll tell that to the couple, and I want you to take notes on this card, because you're going to lose this sheet. I mean, you're going to put this in a file, and it's going to disappear. But this card, you can fold it, and this card can go in your wallet. And then we're going to give you an assignment at the end, and that is to carry this with you and to take it out, open it up, and read it and pray over it for 30 days. They say it takes 21 days to build a habit. So we want you to review this for 30 days. So it's very important Just sit there and take notes. Like number one, respect and appreciation. Say thank you. Write thank you notes. Number two. So you probably can get 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to 10, probably on the front. You might have to use the back, but I want you to take notes on the card so you will have a cheat sheet. You will know marriage 2.0. This is how to love my spouse better. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. And then I'll ask Sally, Sally, would you start telling your husband, what did you put on number one, and explain it? So she'll say, I need respect and appreciation. And then she'll say, I wish you would say thank you. I wish you would write me thank you notes. And then she'll say, and then my number two. And I'll say, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's back up again. Sally, explain that some more. And Joe, ask her some questions about it, because I want to make sure Joe can do a really good job at loving you, Sally. I want to make sure that Joe's going to be able to hit a home run, but you're going to have to make it very specific and clear. And they'll usually go back over it and ask some more questions. And I'll say, Joe, did you write that down? Be sure and get that on the card. And that'll take 5 or 10 minutes. And I'll say, great. Wow, we covered one. Let's go to number two. And then the same thing on 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if we have time, I'll say, okay, let's switch over to Joe. Sally, we'll come back to your next 5. So I'll turn to the husband. I'll say, okay, it's your turn. I want you to talk to your wife. Don't talk to me. And tell her 1 through 5 with practical examples. So what's your number one? And he'll say, sexual intimacy. I wish we had more sex. Number 2, respect and appreciation. And I'll say, whoa, 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 stop, back up. You need to explain that more. Tell her exactly what you're thinking and hoping and wishing. This is your wish list. And go ahead and say, well, I wish, and then he'll explain, well, I wish there was more frequency. I wish I didn't have to initiate. I wish, okay, well, Sally, do you have any questions? Let's talk about it a few minutes. Next thing you know, we've used 5 or 10 minutes, and sometimes the hour is up, and I'm going, we're going to do this next session. And sometimes they'll say, well, we'll finish it at home. And I usually say, well, you can work on it at home, but I want to do it in session because I'm going to make you drill deeper and take a deeper dive on every one of these items. And I want to make sure you filled your card out. So they'll come back the second session, and I'll pick right back up and say, okay, we only did a few of each of your love needs. I want to try to finish it. So let's go over to Sally and we'll just keep working through it. What were your next items? And let's see if we can get through all the way through 10 with practical examples and watching the clock, switch over to the husband and then say, okay, it's your turn. And then at the end of the time, I will remind them, now here's your assignment. Here's the assignment. You need to give them this assignment. I want you to carry this with you and sometime during the day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime, I don't care, break time, by yourself, take this card out and read every item, pray over it, think about it, maybe select one and say, wow, I'm going to do that today, and then put it away. And then tomorrow, I want you to do the same thing again. And you'll say, oh, I already know it's on the card, but please, please read it. Just read it and think about it. So you're thinking, you're processing, you're sort of memorizing the cheat sheet of how to treat your spouse better. I'm telling you, you will get a lot of mileage out of this. People will say, this helped us so much. I've actually gone into restaurants in Raleigh and had a couple pull their card out and wave it at me and go, Dr. Mike, whoa, thank you. This really helps us. Yay. And it really will. So hope you have fun with this. It's a very helpful intervention assessment we call Love Needs, and hope you can use it in your practice. All right. God bless.